Are we live?
We are live.
Yes. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another TeamBN stream. We're starting off a new series where we're going to take the current fastest time for each of the Battle Network games and bring on some of the runners in the category or the record holders themselves and do kind of like an analysis and talk about the strategies that went into the run, how we got to this point, and maybe possible future improvements that you in the chat could be the next world record holder. For this first one, we're going to do Battle Network 1. And with us, so the record we're reviewing is Dallas's 115. Dallas, you want to tell us a little bit about the run?
Hello there. I'm Dallas. This is the 80% run. And this is a heavily RNG manipulated run. So it's a very
That's an
specific
understatement.
run. Yeah, because everything in this game is manipulated, so it saves some quick, but at the same time, it makes the route and the run very fragile. So any mistake can just end the run, as in your follower is a bit wrong and you don't know how to fix it or fix it fast, the run's over. You mess up your step counter and you're gonna get this chip or two. Well, there's a backup, but you're probably gonna be much slower for this time anyway. So it can be a lot of run ending mistakes, and this run does have some mistakes, but they're not run ending, and they're not that bad, like listen minutes. So yeah, we will see.
So,
Yep.
as far as I understand, anytime you see throughout the run Mega Man, there is very careful movement and step counter is being taken into account. Is this correct?
Yes. Every time you move as Mega Man, unless your step counter doesn't not matter, is about to get reset. The movement has to be specific. So you'll see a lot of touching walls and suboptimal movement that keeps the step counter consistent.
Essentially, all of the gameplay involving Mega Man is completely choreographed, and we could tell you ahead of time exactly what's going to happen. So also with us, so we're doing 80%, but helping us out on commentary is Smog. Would you
Hello,
care to
everyone.
tell us a little bit about, introduce yourself and why you're helping us commentate a BN1 run?
Yes. So, hello, everyone. I'm Smog. I started streaming some Battle Network speedruns not too long ago. Started with BN3, and after the grind, I took a little detour towards BN1. And I've been recently focusing on single segment, but also sort of haphazardly learning the any percent route. And many times when I've been practicing, I've got a little help in chat from Tara, Dallas, or both. So here we are. We have the person who routed it, the person who so far has run it the best, I guess, and someone who has little to no experience with it for your best analysis viewing.
I mean, you know more than most because you know how the game more or less works. So that's a very important step in learning.
Yeah.
80%.
But there's still a lot of it. I find from what I've learned already so far and from what you guys have told me that the route would be a little easier to learn if you kind of understand some of the things that are going on behind the scenes, sort of. So
Yeah,
I think this will be a good breakdown for the future reference.
absolutely. Hmm. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, there's two main ways to play this game, and Smog is the best at the single segment currently, so we kind of have a full spectrum of BN1 runners here. And I think with that, we'll just go ahead and get started. We're going to play the video, and we'll pause it periodically to talk about anything interesting that happened and explain the strats as we go. Because the run itself is about an hour 15. But we've got some buffer time in here, so we can just talk about strats. On that,
Right.
actually, just go ahead and start the mainstream timer as well.
Yep. We good to
No,
go?
that's the all chips run. Kilios, come back for when we analyze the 100% category.
It's
Jeez,
actually
how
a
long
very
would that
good
be?
watch, but Not for now.
If just for as a side note, this run is about an hour of a lot of manips. If you want to do 3 hours of very careful movement in Battle Network 1, all chips is the category for you. But that's for another time.
Yeah.
Is the video playing?
Nope, just waiting. Are we good?
Yeah.
Here we go.
How'd you make it up?
So first thing you'll notice is Dallas is playing on the Japanese version.
Yeah, very very important. So for manips, we save on reset, and for some reason, it's a second faster or so whenever you save on reset on Japanese.
Because that was a reset. My bad.
Yeah, that's on me.
Did you bump into a desk?
Yeah.
So this is Dallas is real picky.
real picky. But
BN1 runners are perfectionists.
to a fault. But the thing about soft resetting is you know why it's faster, don't you, Dallas?
Faster than hard resetting, or
No, why Japanese version is faster than English version?
yeah. In the US version, there's still like this 1 second buffer or a bit less, in which you are not allowed to continue the game or start a new game. No matter how fast you must start or anything, there's a waiting time there. And we save and reset so many times throughout the game that it makes the Japanese version like a minute or two faster allowing.
There's also an extra text box in the English version where it's like, do you want to
Oh,
save?
right.
Are you sure you want to overwrite the file? Whereas Japanese version is just like, do you want to save? You click yes, and it's like, it's saved.
Yeah,
But
I forgot about
anyway, first, you might have caught Dallas doing a folder edit before the tutorial.
that. Yeah, the first 20 seconds.
And so that's specifically for the third fight, right?
Yeah, because the
Well,
third
it's
fight
for
is
everything up to Fireman.
Hmm.
Full. It's
Right,
because
right.
we the way Battle Network 1's RNG works is we know exactly what chips we're going to draw, what slots in the folder, so we can put the chips that we want to draw there. Like Dallas got 3 cannons in this third tutorial, not because the tutorial's fixed, but because he manipulated it. Could also
Yeah.
be mini bombs. That's an issue with parity. We're not going to explain how RNG manipulation works, because that's like a complicated topic in and of itself. If you just need to like do the edit, push the buttons, do the movement, and it'll work out the same for you. If you want to understand it, we can do a separate video on that, or
Should I
you can
pause
just like
here?
ask us in the Discord. So
If
this
you
is the
wanna learn
first
it.
interesting section with Mega Man, and we're gonna do very precise movements. So you can pause, after talking to Glide here.
So what Dallas
And-
did as soon as he got we should maybe say some things about general step counter reset. So when you transition from an area, the step counter is reset. So when Mega Man went from LAN's homepage to Internet 1, that's like step counter is 0.
Yeah, that
So
doesn't
from
matter.
there on, you can do consistent movement. Anyone else want to add something to that?
No, it's just,
No?
the movement is all buffered and it's
Yeah.
touching walls, and you can see I stopped very briefly, but I stopped at a corner when I held up, and there was a corner in the circle area, and then I went up right, and I went up and down, and that changed my step counter a bit, moving in those corners.
It also lined us up so that when we run straight to the right, we're going to bump off these corners, and it's going to position us vertically at the right position to, and Smog knows this very well,
Now I do.
slide
yes.
down when we hit the corner instead of sliding up.
Yeah.
Because this game is isometric, and depending on when you cut up or down, whether you're running diagonally or horizontally, you can get slightly different results. And this is why it's important for Battle Network 1, you have to buffer your movement, you have to run into corners, and corners are the main thing. Because if you cut without a corner, there's a possibility you end up on a different like Y value, and that can just completely change everything.
So here you'll just see Dallas saving, soft resetting, and then doing some consistent movement until he gets to another spot where he's going to save, essentially.
Yep.
Yeah.
We took the glide, now we run to the right.
There was a
And
wiggle
on the
Yeah.
ramp, yeah. And then there's a wiggle here and a wiggle here, and then we get
And
to
so
the
you
door.
see-
So we get to another corner.
Exactly, another corner,
And we
save, reset, and
so
then
you
left.
want to pause?
So,
Okay. Yeah.
an important thing why this works is that whenever you change direction as Mega Man, Mega Man stops for like 1 frame. So that's very important.
So that's what a
Also-
wiggle is. It's just like changing direction, changing like
To-
Mega Man's animation essentially to waste a frame
Yeah.
or two. A wiggle is 2 frames, I guess.
Yeah. So
Yep. So I mean,
and
after you.
it's done in 2 ways because you can change directions. Oh, but in ramps, movement speed is the same whether you're holding B or not. So when in a ramp, if you let go of B and then press it again, that also counts as a wiggle.
That's so nice.
It's weird how that works, but ramps. And then the main reason that we care so much about our step counter is because you get an encounter check every 64 steps. When you're running, it's 2 steps per frame. So every 32 frames you get an encounter check, and depending on what the RNG value is, when you get that encounter check will determine if you get an encounter and what that encounter is and what your chip draw is going to be. So if we maintain a consistent step counter, if we soft reset to restart the random number generator and then buffer our movement, those 3 things together let us get specific fights, like this one which has a Canadum and a Fishy, and we draw area grab and wide sword, so we can guarantee a double kill.
So if you see this again, what is it? It's steel in slot 5 and wide sword in slot 2?
Yep, it always is.
Easy. And so then,
It's
should I play it?
Yep. And here's a little trick that Dallas does that Smog you might want to start is we movement to cancel the buster shot, so he shoots the buster then moves forward.
Is that so? Do you move? Do you shoot the buster and then move? Is that what
Yep.
you
Yeah.
want to do? Okay.
It gives me a bit more time to be able to turn the wide sword.
Yeah. Because like when I'm mashing the buster shot, I can just move back and forth. But when it's like more specific things, and so here's the same thing. Just mini bomb is a 6 buster shots, gets hit twice.
And Dallas cuts it real close, so always getting that 5-0 something.
And there's a visual cue on the Meteor whenever the
Oh, to throw it.
pickaxe flashes in a specific time. I know when I can throw it and move forward, so I can get a really low 5-second fight, ideally between 5:20 or lower.
Nice.
I just noticed you do those wiggles really early, or not
Yeah,
really early,
it's
but like
kind of
you know,
whenever.
yeah.
But yeah, an important. Should we explain how RNG inside fights works? I've fired a lot of buster
Sure,
shots and whatnot.
if you want to, yeah.
So RNG stops whenever you enter a fight, and it only advances to random things that happen inside the fight. So, for example, firing a buster shot, the animation of the splash whenever the buster shot hits, it appears in a random location. So that will in fact advance RNG by 1. That
So-
way we can manipulate the draws and whatnot, but also getting hit by specific attacks or firing a specific attack. So like cannon will advance RNG by 1, but minimum will not.
I think I can. I think my mouse is visible, so I can show like the specific
yeah.
animation, the buster shot thing that advances RNG. Like that's fine, but see this little thing,
The projectile.
this little
The
buster
particle
thing,
effect.
the
Yeah.
particle effect. It appears in like a different
Okay.
spot every time, right? And that's what advances
Yeah.
RNG or something.
Yeah, it's essentially whenever you get a random number, you ask the random number generator, give me a random number. It gives you one and then it changes it. So every time something random happens, it advances the RNG by 1. So as long as you have like a controlled way to do it, like with buster shots, you can get it to specific values. And in the overworld, that just happens once per frame.
I don't actually think you can see my mouse, but it's the little particle effect right by the 7. And then the other thing is the explosions after you delete a virus or a Navi of advanced RNG as well. So like viruses, I believe, is 3 RNG values, and Navi are like 10.
Virus explosions are 4.
4. Okay, I was off by 1.
Your mouse, are you over the video player or OBS?
Oh, here we go.
Because if it's over the video player, I bet it does show up.
There we go. Yes. So that little particle effect that I'm circling, I can see it on the stream now.
Smog is pointing at the screen. You guys see what I'm pointing at, right?
Yeah. And then this explosion, this virus explosion. My mouse probably looks very small, but it's visible. Anyway. Shall we continue?
Yeah, for what gameplay is concerned, since the explosions for every encounter are always going to be the same, we'll always advance the same amount of number. It's only buster shots and getting hit and specific chips that will matter.
Yeah, so for example, Dallas is going to get hit by the Metar's shockwave twice.
And it's the same particle.
Yeah, exactly.
Idea.
It's similar, yeah.
Giving you a different
position.
And we do it
rank.
Yeah. Well, the reason advanced RNG.
Yeah.
We do the fights so that we get specific. Oh, can you pause?
Yep.
Do you see? Well, like when you cut that last corner, it's like a skinny section of the internet because Yai's portrait has like low bandwidth, so can't fit a lot of data through there. So
there are 2 ways
right there.
Yeah, and it's like if you cut it too late, you'll get stuck. But Dallas does this thing where he runs into it, right? That's something you can.
Yeah, so you can hold down and then change down right to enter the axis. But if you're insecure about that, you can just hold right after the corner. You go down and right, and then you do a half turn down right, and that will also not give you an encounter. It's a bit slower in terms of turn frames, but it's safer.
It's literally 2 frames slower.
I'll have to start doing that because I always get stuck on the
more
corner.
Consistent. Yeah.
Anyway, I'll continue.
All right, carry on. And in single segment, there's a GMD in here that we would pick up, but it's so far out of the way and we'd have to manipulate it. We get a different chip instead.
Yeah.
So we're going to the oven.
Talk to Mom when you can jack him right there.
Yeah, from all the way back here.
And so immediately here, you're gonna start like skipping cutscenes and doing buffered movement.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so
other run, you're gonna see that B. I'm gonna be holding start a lot.
Yeah.
As well as B.
Cannon, what a lucky draw. The 2 movement step buster.
Easy.
And then there's our shockwave. Do we even use that chip?
Shockwave is really important, yes.
Yeah, it is actually. It's used a bunch in school comps.
I like
to get.
It was so hard to find a setup that gets all the way to this prog without an encounter. And then the only way we could get out of here was with walking. That walking section is pretty annoying.
You have to like walk upright until a specific spot where you can cut
and then
right.
You can run.
And then you can run.
I got so many encounters by messing up talking to the prog by not past buffering that.
Oh, yeah. So Dallas runs through an encounter check there, I think, right? And
yeah, I ran
another
through
one here.
3 checks, I believe. Or
Dallas is yellow. He's like, I don't need consistent RNG manipulation. I like randomness.
No, the thing is, there's a very specific timing I do. I do this in a very, very similar timing every time. I think I've only gotten an encounter once or twice since I've done it.
Technically, even without fully manipulating it, because it's off of a manipulation, it's within the same window, so the odds are lower than normal. And then we come up on Fireman.
Do we want to talk about it for a second, or do we
just
play it? All right.
Yeah. So it's like this is the power of RNG manipulation.
Well, I guess I'm gonna ignore
That's
that
a nice
fire
draw.
tower. I just randomly got.
It'd be a shame if you missed a sword.
It's really easy to miss swords in single segment, but when you know when he's gonna move and how, it's
8 seconds.
So
That's
nice.
a 6-minute Fireman split, and then we're not even going outside to pick up extra escapes. We're going straight into the second scenario.
Who needs escapes?
We can just get the escapes or get chips. You know, why bother?
It's true. Like, I guess at this point, it
Nice
doesn't
movement.
it doesn't really matter if you're gonna manip fights for chips, it might even just be better to do them at the beginning of the game where the viruses have less HP, right?
Well,
Right.
the variety you're limited to.
Yeah.
The only fights we take in the skull comp are so we can get quakes, and we need extra
Damn.
quakes because we have to. Like the number man fight is a huge problem.
Yeah.
All right,
This is
Smog bought
Dallas.
me. There's no swag talk to
What?
Orange Nub Kid.
Terrible.
Dallas is like trying to save these turn frames here and be fancy. Oh, so pause it right there. That's a little trick for you, Smog. Is that after you talk to Mel, you can hold down and then delay jacking in a little bit so that
I've started doing that, so I don't talk to
yeah,
her again.
yeah. Well, one, less likely to talk twice, but
And then you're
two,
closer
now
to the
when you
door.
exit, you can hold down right.
Yeah, it's really nice.
All right, carry on.
Folder
Let's do the
edit
second
coming
folder
up.
edit.
Down A, R down A. Hell no.
He's just
So,
gonna read it off
if I recall correctly,
from memory.
this folder edit carries us to Gutsman.
Yeah. Gutsman, there's another folder edit.
Yeah.
So this is another. No, we're gonna need another folder edit to add all
Oh,
the
right.
quakes
There's
before
one
number
right
one.
before. Yeah. I forgot about that one.
Oh look,
And
a
that's where
flag.
you add the quakes.
There's the shockwave. What a lucky fight.
Yep.
Quake
No,
1A.
5
And then-
wiggles.
So, 5 wiggles. Quake 1A is good because A's got some folder flow to it. You know, we take 2 encounters here. Could we cut this to 1? I guess the main deal, nice double, is that we want a certain number of quakes, and this works out that if we cut out any of the fights, we'd have 1 less quake, so we'd have to do the number man fight differently. Like, everything ties together so much, it's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
If you want to
And-
change any one thing in the Battle Network 1 any percent route, you have to change everything.
The number man fight is one of the fights
No.
that doesn't
How
have
did he know?
like a 100% consistent manip. So
Mhm.
I guess that's where having the 4
Well,
quakes
parity.
probably parity. But like that's where having the 4 quakes probably affects things,
Yeah.
right?
And Gutsman too.
Yeah, exactly.
So having multiple is
Do
really.
we use
really
Fire
helpful.
Tower? Is that still a strat? I forget.
Fire Tower is a 50% on Gutsman. It's one of the. Or, yeah.
Is it
not-
on Number Man too, or not?
Yeah, number one too.
Sometimes.
It's also 50-50.
I haven't seen it in so long. I've been watching Smog. I guess you get different ones.
Yeah. There's a wiggle there, yeah.
I got the quadruple Quake one recently. I think last time
Nice.
I did practice.
Oh, 43
Okay, so pause it
strat.
here.
Nice.
So these number doors cannot be manipulated because they're not random. They're just different every time.
Yeah, they start on
That's all.
whenever you power on. So we could technically hard reset and get really close to the number. Probably get the first digit, but it's not worth it.
Nah,
So, do
not
we
when
want
we
to talk
have
about it
a-
at all, or nah?
I
Like,
just
what the
explained
general
it. What do you mean?
strategy?
There's
This is
a
random?
there's a paste bin. There's a text document that shows you the 6 number guessing pattern for every combination 0 to 99. So if you're not sure what to do, you just look at that.
Yeah.
But otherwise, what's going to happen is Dallas starts with 43, and then depending on whether it's too high or too low, he'll often change the 1's value up by 1, so the 3 turns into a 4. And if it's too high, the 4 of the 40 will go down to 20, or if it's
Or
too low,
60.
it'll go up to 60. And
Yeah.
there's a whole sort of algorithmic method to it that
Yeah.
takes a little getting used to, but once you get it, you're like, oh my god, this is genius.
It's so easy. I love it.
Anyway,
It's because the
What?
hints that it gives you. If you get either of the numbers correct, it'll tell you that the other one is wrong.
mhm.
But it focuses on the tens digit. So we change the 10 digit by a bigger amount than the ones digit. Also, can you adjust the music
What was it?
louder?
Louder.
Dallas is taking these hard cuts. It's because he's a PC player. What a cheater.
Wow.
Let me know if that's any better.
I wanna cut my horizontal movement. It's bad.
I mean, it's just like a 1 turn frame thing, and that's only if you get it.
Uh,
This fight, I never really liked it because it's a little tight. It's just a little tight. Technically, it's all bufferable,
It's all bufferable,
but I don't
and
like
you
it.
do so many fights where it's move Quake 3 for like
I don't like
206
it.
that I got really
Alright, so
used to
here's
it.
Higsby.
I've never found a problem
You did seem.
personally.
If
You
you don't
guys are
hold
just better than
start,
I am.
if you don't hold
I
start
don't like
walking
it.
into the door, you get pushed back by Hixby, and you'll be farther away when the cutscene ends.
Yeah. So Dallas also runs through a 3% check there.
Uh,
The Mad
okay,
Lad.
in my entire time running BN1, I've only gotten that 3% twice. Okay. So let's be
What's the
clear.
current remix that's playing?
EXE2 theme.
You can probably leave it. I think this one maybe is a little quieter than some of the others. Because once we get to BN3, they got like heavy rock
Yeah.
remix.
So there, Dallas also picked up at a desk Repair Star, which is literally just for
Repair A.
Repair.
Is,
yeah.
no, isn't
There
it?
is
Oh
no
yeah, it is A.
star.
It is A. I forgot about
There
that.
is no star in
my
Battle
bad.
Network
I
1.
forgot.
It wasn't invented yet. They
I
didn't have the
know.
technology.
The asterisk did not exist yet.
Yeah.
So here
Okay,
there's
so
a
one of
visual
us in
cue.
This is the first fight that we can't buffer into. So any fight that's keyed off of dialogue instead, we have to have either a visual or an audio cue. So Dallas is waiting, and then he'll start once the 4 fades.
Oh. Was it supposed
It's
to be
the
there?
next one.
No, I paused
He's
it.
It's the
super
second
far
cycle.
ahead.
He
So
got it like
fast.
immediately. So
Yeah.
And then
as you
Yeah.
see this zero
Okay.
thing in the background, I don't know, Dallas, which one you look at, but this is the one I look at.
Yeah, that's it.
As soon as you can see the first couple of lines, as soon as you can humanly react to it, and that's the key, you have to react to it. You can't like expect it, because
Yeah, the thing
Dallas, if you
is,
want to explain it.
it's real. So the idea behind this money was to react to the bar line appearing, that show the zero. The thing is, once you run the game, it's very, very easy to anticipate when the bars are coming up, and if you do so, you'll be a few frames too early. And it's something both Smog and I have done, maybe Tara, I don't know. So you need to react. You need to purposely wait until you see the lines. You could
'Cause
technically
it's-
go off an audio cue too, but we use visual.
Because like once you know what the visual cue is, I'm sure it changes person to person, but I myself am a very sort of jumpy. I jump the gun a lot, and so this is one that I've had to like practice. Like, no, I must react. But that's it about that one pretty much. Shall I continue?
Yeah,
that's
a lot of
true,
these
Arthur.
setups are just about finding a particular offset, and sometimes the offset is relative to your particular setup. Like if your audio is being routed differently, maybe it's a little bit delayed, visuals could be a bit delayed, so you have to adjust your own internal reaction to it. And so for some people, it's like picking a different spot to look at can make the difference, which is a interesting kind of personalization to the route that you just have to like, there's no tips or tricks or tutorial. It's just running and experience and practice.
Yeah.
Key part there is practice.
Yeah. But so all this to say that this is the first fight that we don't have a way to buffer our movement. Now RNG starts when you select continue. So if you buffer your movement, you can start on a specific frame. Because we can't do that, we can't start on a specific frame. And so we get within a window of say 10 frames. But because we can't control the specific one, if we're 1 frame later, 1 frame early, we actually get a completely different draw. And this is due to an effect called parity. And so the way to think about it is instead of having one folder that's being shuffled every frame, and depending on when you start the fight, that's the draw that you get, you have to imagine that there are 2 separate copies of your folder, and depending on if you start the fight on an even frame or an odd frame, you get one of those 2 folders. Which means we have to stack 2 separate decks, 2 folders at the same time in order to get a reasonable draw on this fight.
To clarify, that's So it's 2 copies of the identical folder that are shuffled differently, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Shall we continue?
Yep.
In
And
the
then someone
specific
said
case-
it earlier. Most of the bosses like to hide out in the back. Numberman does, Stoneman does. Gutsman comes to the front, Iceman comes to the front, but a lot of them do hide in the back. Bomb Man, Magic Man. And so
Protoman.
that's why Quakes are so good, because they're a little more damage than a sword, and we can throw them. And so Numberman just gets bullied, which he deserves it.
This is so satisfying. Oof.
Especially after he killed you that one time, right?
Dude, okay. You rolled a 6, man. It was
So
one of
I
those
got
moments. I was just gonna say it was one of those moments where you know you're dead, like a second before it
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah, so in that particular fight, I got the fast one, which is 5 seconds faster. Pretty
And
nice.
it's just faster because you use 1 chip instead of 2 in the last turn, right?
Yeah.
There's less waiting overall.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to take a detour to the piano. This is just to pick up a key item. We've got a long walk, so we'll also take advantage of the fact... Oh, so pause it for a second. One of the things that I'm most looking forward to is having a Battle Network 1 race where the runners tie at the end. Because that's the whole point of RNG manipulation,
Yeah.
is it's consistent. So look at Dallas's fireman split. They can't see it on
You
stream,
can,
but
but
Smog, you
it's-
see,
It's
it's minus 0.0. You get the exact same 5 minutes 57.1.
so
It's
funny.
great.
Well, that's just once again.
Do Fireman one.
That's just what happens when you practice.
Numberman does have a bit of variance to number doors, but yeah.
Yeah, number doors give a little variance. So I'll continue.
I remember changing that movement until I was like, no, this is harder. Don't explain them to do this harder.
Wait, what did you do that
So-
was harder?
The beginning of the piano, I changed the movement a little bit, which is the same amount of frame skill. Or I remember the tutorial teach you to move up and then go to the right and then go.
Yeah, it's like
and I said,
up,
no, it's great.
left, up, left. So that way you end up closer to the ramp. What do you do?
I just do 2 wiggles.
Okay.
I move up right, I switch to left, and I do like 2 wiggles, and then I keep
Yeah,
moving
I
up
mean,
left.
you can do that, but it'll put you further away from where you need to be, so it's less optimal. So don't
No,
do what
it's
Dallas
not
does.
about it's not about being optimal or not.
Yeah,
the
it is.
thing, you're taking a detour.
This is the speed
either
run.
way. No,
To be
you're taking
clear-
a detour anyway whenever you're doing your movement, so it's the same.
Nope.
What
Nope.
Dallas is talking about
Nope.
is once he starts moving here, he moves
Can you frame advance?
up left. No.
DLC, I
Maybe.
think you'd have to probably bind that to separate key. Anyway,
Yeah.
just play
I'll
it.
just play it, yeah. But Dallas does a little movement there,
He wiggles
uh,
left.
which is
So look
once
how
again,
far away he is from that central line, and he has to move up to get to it. I'm already there.
terrible, terrible. So what I wanted to ask
No,
really
because you have
quickly
to take the detour.
is
You have to do
because
2
there's
wiggles either way.
only 1 RNG value in this game, enemy, and it starts when you hit continue in the title screen. Enemies are consistent as well, correct?
Yes, they Navis move to the same time.
Everything, like if you can buffer into it, everything is exactly
Mhm.
the same every time.
So, like, what I want to say is here Dallas is gonna let the shockwave go and
Just let the
move
strike
up.
happen.
Yeah.
I love
How
But,
it.
did
like,
he know?
If you were doing single segment, there is a possibility that that virus moves to the bottom row. So it's like this is one of the nice things about BN1.
Yeah,
Any percent. I,
mean,
don't know. Just wanted to
If
say
you're
that.
doing single segment, you wait for him to attack and you further shockwave where he was and then move.
Mhm.
I
out
mean,
of the
what
way as
I
fast
do
as
is I just
possible.
YOLO it. And hope
There's
Yeah.
a
that he moves.
50% chance that you
Yeah,
get
exactly.
Okay. So that blue mystery data had add mail, and it's in fact a key item. But if you don't grab it now, she'll email it to you later. And it just so happens that it's next to the email you get from that regarding the power up, and it's just faster to read the email than it is to go pick it up. And it also runs through encounter check. If you go pick it up, it's I don't remember if it's like a 3 or a 6, but it does happen. Another follower edit on Gutsman.
Yeah. That's an audio setup.
Yeah, you can't hear it, but there's an audio cue there.
So we need to do 10 buster shots, and then otherwise he's reacting to his position to throw the quakes.
Yeah.
And we don't really care about taking damage because it's just Gutsman. And then the triple cannon.
Poor guy.
Look at that! Now we just need 3 shots, and he moves twice.
He always moves twice there, which at the beginning tripped me up.
And he'll crack it. Yeah. He moves twice. That's before he does his crack panels, and then he stands still for a second, and that's his mistake.
So those 5 seconds come from the fact that in the previous round I got the fire tower frame, which is due to parity 5 seconds slower.
Won the coin flip. So this movement might look familiar because it's pretty much exactly the same, except we don't have to go down and talk to Glide.
Yeah.
But that's because we're trying to get no encounters. We don't need like a second. Or actually, do we get a second dash this work?
Yeah. We need 3 dashes and 3 guards throughout the run because there are gonna be fights where we won't get shoot.
So
that we can
when you move down to talk to Glide, do we not actually change our steps any?
No.
I guess not.
Really?
He's right there.
So you can in fact move down to talking to the green guy or just change the position, but it doesn't actually change it. So
just battle network things.
Mm-hmm.
Moving.
This is exactly the same fight, but we get a shockwave instead of minimum. So the setup is a little bit different.
And shockwave advances RNG when it hits the Met as well, right? So you do 1 less buster shot.
Exactly.
Amazing. And now, so we actually cut some corners here, but normally you can't cut corners because they'll give you a different step counter. But if you're cutting corners into an area transition, you can get away with it.
Yeah.
And so this next encounter, this next encounter is the last dash, if I remember correctly.
This was like the first RNG manipulation that I think I found, because we figured out how to get dash G, and dash G just breaks the game because it's part of a program advance that you're going to see in this next boss fight. Because we have 3 dash attacks. How many guards do we have? 3?
3 guards.
And 1 Gutsman.
Yeah. So we can put the Gutsman in the frames that we always get, no matter parity, and we can get put the other chips where we need. So 206 is a number you're gonna see a lot throughout this run because it's the time it takes to move once and throw quick. I love it.
Because you can hold A to use a battle chip while you're changing panels, and Mega Man will use it on the first frame that he's got. This is one of my favorite folder edits because it's like, all right, let's get rid of this garbage and let's put in this, and we're done.
Yep. It's pretty nice.
And here's Stone Man. And he's got 600 HP, so normally this takes a while.
But this is the moment that just got me hooked into Prison Shrine because I had no idea Gatshoot existed. So I was suddenly like, wait, what?
500 damage.
Easy.
It gets progressively nerfed in every Battle Network game. It's like, yeah, it's too strong.
400.
Yeah,
it's still used. Yeah, 300.
I find it funny because they just put in stronger things in its place.
Yeah, they kept buffing enemies and the chips, but they kept nerfing at you.
Poor Gutsman. And so here, obviously, as LAN, you want to try to do as optimal movement as possible, but if you don't...
Nice try, Dallas.
I know, it's a bit too early.
If you don't, like Dallas just might have showcased, you know, all you're losing is time in that suboptimal movement.
Any percent doesn't need the money?
Nope.
That's crazy. Single segment picks up a lot more Zenny.
Yeah.
So for this part, you can either talk to the PC, and there would be like a whole conversation thing, a bunch of text to access, or you can just try to jack in.
Shout out to @dad.
Yeah.
Dad.
Bearman will also ask you, hey, do you want to check in? You can say jack in. You can say yes or no, but if you say no, he's like, no, just jack in anyway.
That scientist is so annoying.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that is really important for the memo section of the run because it's the fastest way to get to Bowman.
Yeah.
And we have to jack in to talk to Mr. Prague anyway, so shoutouts to early Metro Pass. 'Cause we're gonna be doing that a lot.
I was looking at the movement optimization, and it's like, it's all about, okay, which NPC is getting in my way and how do I get around it?
Papa.
There's a- Whoops. Dang.
Oh, that was a mistake. Somebody come take world record.
It's free. It's basically free.
It's free.
Oh, actually, go back. Wouldn't that be faster movement to just move straight down?
No, you cannot.
Because it's diagonal movement?
Because whenever you have the cutscene with mom telling you there's no water, there's no breakfast, it will put you in such a position that if you hold down, you will not immediately exit.
Right. So you can, yeah, I've thought about that before as well. You can move down to just
Nah, I was
slide
thinking
off the couch, but
Before
here.
talking to mom.
Oh,
But I
Mhm.
guess
You
the
cannot-
cutscene trigger is diagonal? Or
You cannot hold down. So,
does it not trigger the
you won't get
cutscene?
close enough?
no, that's.
Okay.
Also, holding down or going down left to trigger the mom cutscene is the same, right?
Should be the same. Yeah, it should be.
Assuming
But
the
yeah.
trigger is like a diagonal line or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, you cannot exit the house just holding down. I tried that. It's not possible.
Yeah, BN1's house is, it's got a funny shaped couch.
Yeah.
Not as good as the later houses.
Right? Until through the back door, but I don't think it really matters. I just prefer it because if you enter through the other door, you have to do a lot of horizontal movement, and I didn't like that.
Yeah,
So I was
makes
like, yeah,
sense.
back door. Cutting, yeah.
What
Oh,
a
there's a
mysterious
car
car.
there. Yeah.
Two
Oh, and there's
cars.
that old guy. Do we still get tree dentures?
Oops. Nope, because on Trophy like 5, there's a free Rick of 80.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that. I'm like, I want to pick this up, but there's no consistent way to do it with your step counter. But now the step counter doesn't matter. So, but at the same
Yeah.
time, I do miss tree dentures because that was funny.
Right. There's a lot of movement. Just
No, it's Smog's favorite part.
Snip, snip. Except I don't know what it's actually in Japanese. I could have read it, but it's
same.
too late now.
But we all could have read it. But it's better if Fat Kid reads it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Do you
I
do
like how
Only
the
left
scientist
versus
just
secret
moves
conversation?
perfectly out of the way.
that's
Alice,
an
do you
HP
do
memo.
secret conversations? Oh, you don't.
Nah.
Terrible.
There's no reason not to, but
I don't really bother with Freud. I find it a bit hard. It's just,
it's because you're a keyboard player. It's easy on the
Okay.
D-pad. You just gotta.
This Monday, it's really important because TrustB is really good, and if you mess it up, there's no backup. Because you need the BMD
Yeah.
to set up your step counter properly, and if you pick up the BMD but later on mess up your step
What a
counter or
cool
whatever,
fight!
you cannot bug it up, so the run is over.
It's actually, for anyone wondering, when you're starting off, that's quite a tricky fight. I still have trouble with it because I think I need to work on my
Why didn't you just
buster
run
buffering.
straight down? Dallas.
What? Oh, I
It's fine.
couldn't. What? Oh, I see what you mean.
Leaving Freud's room.
I see what you mean. I see. I see. I see.
Smog
That's
is like, turn frame, SMH.
So we can finally hold down. Pod.
Yeah.
Yeah, the scientist is gone because it's after hours.
This isn't illegal at all.
Oh, it's okay. Lance's like, trust me, my dad invented the internet.
Trust me, my dad works at this place. For real, though.
Now, this is probably my favorite comp in terms of routing because it has one encounter, and that's it. I love
But
it.
it's got ice. I think this is why Smog stopped learning any percent.
It's where I realized that it wasn't as free as perhaps I previously thought.
Because all of these slides, Dallas got it like queued up, and he has to like change direction while on the ice.
Yeah.
It's like, why are
And
you?
Very
some of them,
interesting.
this one's crazy. Like that's not optimal.
Yeah.
But
It keeps the step counter consistent.
It was funny the first time I did a single segment race. I had never done that, the single segment category, and I had learned a bit of Waterworks comps, so I kept doing the suboptimal movement, even though I wasn't doing manip. So
Yeah,
I was,
and then I
losing
used to
time,
do
I'm
the same
sure.
thing.
But
Yeah.
Dallas was entertained, so what can you do?
I was entertained because I did the same thing in the past.
it's like relatable.
And so one of the things is when you turn those taps, it resets your step counter because it like reloads the area.
Yeah, it's
So-
changing how it looks from the ice, taking it away or putting water to block your path. It has to reload.
And after the cutscene of, or not the cutscene, but the animation of Mega Man turning the tap, I believe it always puts you in the same position, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh,
So like,
that corner, doesn't it? If you run left, it's got the slow movement.
oh, actually, I want to ask
So
something.
weird. It's this one right here.
well,
So what I wanted to ask is this turn to the right here.
Cutting corners or something. Whoa.
Yeah. What is there anything? I feel like that's the spot that maybe messes me up. Does that make sense? Would it if I don't do it correctly?
He touches the wall. Well, so with this one, all that's important is to get to the faucet, because once you get to the faucet, it
It resets
resets
your
stuff.
step
So
counter.
technically,
Yeah.
you could cut all of these corners, but Dallas runs straight up until he touches the wall, because then he can cut right. Because like,
Does he?
think about that the doghouse again, right? It's like
Mhm.
we've got a top corner that we're cutting, and when you're
does.
going around a top corner or a bottom corner, it doesn't matter as much because
Mhm.
it's like it's diagonal or vertical movement. It's not or it's diagonal movement or horizontal movement. It's not vertical movement. But the right corner would be different. But since we're going from the right corner to the ice to the faucet, it doesn't matter as much. So there's some leniency there.
Okay.
Oh, this one was like a hard one, and that had that same, like cutting a top corner thing. The Waterworks is really where cutting a top corner versus a left-right corner makes a big difference. And that was like a super delayed wiggle, essentially.
I think
Yeah.
that corner cut near the top is actually probably where I mess up the most.
Yep, but it's a top corner, so it technically doesn't matter if you're around it or not.
Okay.
This is Iceworks' only encounter. Simply because this comp, this
So
specific
long.
area is way too long. So.
And there's a very specifically placed wiggle right there.
Yeah.
I'm almost a
to.
little disappointed. Like, I want to buy early Elexord and manipulate, like, steel into Elexord and just, like, kill the polar bears and get the 2000s any. But it's like, no, just skip it. And that's
See,
it.
now that I know roughly the position
Oh, the save
here,
reset!
I'm like,
Yep.
I could tell from the first few you were like still way too far.
Yep.
Yeah, and then the first video was way too far. The final one, I was a bit nervous. I'm pretty sure I didn't get it, but I wanted to confirm,
Understandably
so I
so.
opened twice.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't a good pace, I didn't want to mess it up.
I guess
And
compared to your
also-
previous run, that was a good skip.
If I recall correctly, the bears
Ow.
have 250 and 300 HP.
I think it's 150 and 200. I may be misremembering.
Or maybe, I don't think it's 150.
Look,
I think
you
it's way more.
steal, you buster, you draw Elexord, you press A, you win.
Yeah,
It's
then-
Are
it's
they in the front row?
almost.
but
they're in the
steel
middle
is S code.
Oh, steel.
So-
you said,
It
yeah,
takes
yeah.
2 turns. It's
Yeah.
almost not slower to fight the polar bears. but it is. So
Yeah, I fight polar bursting 100%. That, yeah.
Is it for the Zenny?
Yeah, it's for the Sunny.
So, story-wise, in case anyone's keeping tabs,
nope.
Lan just poisoned the town?
No, he
less?
gave everyone grape soda, but
Oh,
someone
true,
complained.
true.
So
It's like, I don't like
you
grape
didn't
soda, I
cut. What
prefer-
was that, Dallas?
Uh,
Was that
you,
because is it
you
different
cannot
movement?
cut. Oh, no, no, no.
Because there's no
you cannot cut.
shockwave.
Yeah, it's different movement. Because there's
forgot.
no soda wave, but you cannot cut or you get encountered.
That's fair.
I mean, you're holding down anyway, so it's not like...
There's an alternative setup for after the faucet that gets one encounter that you can escape from, and on English that's probably faster compared to doing 3 save resets. It's
Right.
funny.
But in Japanese, it's just faster. But I believe the movement is a bit easier. But
Well, it's movement in Waterworks is not easy. Actually, you say that like there was one place where we got an encounter. You remember Arathar specifically routed out a no encounter Waterworks, and it only took like 12 wiggles or something. So to be fair, there are alternatives. The nice thing about a no encounter setup is that they're one of the few things, like we talked about, if you change anything in the route, you have to change everything. Technically, if you can route out movement that gets no encounters, you can just like swap that in with anything else.
Dallas, was that a mistake?
Yeah, I had some
Second one
problem
over.
with my keyboard or something, and
The wiggles
one of
were
the
off?
wiggles didn't
Yeah.
get properly registered, and I was like, no, this is not working. I know it's not gonna work, so I'm gonna reset here.
Yeah.
I'll take the 3, 4, 5 seconds now, rather than taking the 15, 20 later.
That makes sense.
So that decision making comes from running this game a lot.
But yeah,
Oh,
like
This area was where I learned that different areas have different encounter thresholds, and you could actually move. Previously, I thought it was like 4 encounter checks or like 200 some steps that everyone had its first encounter check. You want to pause and we'll talk about that, Skip.
Okay.
But in this area, because I wanted to move a little bit further, like 300 steps, the Waterworks seems like in general has a little more leniency at first and then ramps up faster. So different areas have different kind of grace periods where you can move without getting a random encounter, so we don't have to save reset as much.
I was just gonna say about Dallas deciding to like just soft reset after failed wiggle. That's another one of the things that you just kind of get used to in a lot of the Battle Network speedruns is like, sure, you can practice a lot of things, but you also just by doing runs get a feel for what is or isn't going to work. Like if you're not doing a completely manipped run, like where roughly you get encounters in some comps, and there's just like things you learn through experience. And like Dallas and Tara obviously have played this a lot. So
yeah.
they know things just by kind of like not feeling, but like they're able to kind of like just take in information and quickly process it, whereas I have to actually go all the way, realize my wiggle failed, and then I soft reset, and it's like, ugh, I don't know what I'm doing. Anyway, I'll continue for the fun skip.
So this skip was actually very slow. And you can say, but that was kind of fast. No, that for me that's slow. Believe it or not, I took it very safe considering the pace. But yeah.
So with that, there's like 4 different pixels that you can stand on, or 4 different X values, and then run or walk up. And the funny thing is, if you run, that's where the Y value comes in. If you run, there's only actually see, it makes sense now, right? Yeah. If you run up, depending on where you're standing, there's actually only a 2 pixel overlap of good windows, but if you walk, it's 4 pixels.
That makes sense now. It's very nice.
Yeah, so that's why we say walk there.
Yeah. That ice puzzle is supposed to be like 2 faucets, right? But by doing that specific thing, you skip one. And there was a power up underneath. But we don't care about power ups.
Yeah.
We're just gonna
But we
draw
kind
good.
of do.
For levels.
yeah.
Care
that's
about the
pretty much it,
levels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for anyone that hasn't played Battle Network in a while, or Battle Network 1 specifically, there is a spot near the end of the game where you have to be level 30
Nice
and you
draw.
have to have 60 unique chips in your library. And so a lot of these manips are taking advantage of new viruses to just get the drops.
Right.
Or to just do the battles quickly if there are no new viruses. And
Imagine
then
what Battle Network 1 would be if you didn't have that requirement. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
this area doesn't have viruses, this area also doesn't have viruses, this area also doesn't have any viruses, and that's fine.
that would probably be like, do you think sub-hour? Would it cut out that much?
Nah.
15 minutes.
Because we
is
still
a
have to
bit too
walk through
much.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Nice, Dallas.
there we are.
It's another one of those. Do you think we can do the same thing on that one?
No, I've tried.
I
You just,
hate
like,
that
can't.
section, walking up to males, because it's so short, but it's like, if you get an encounter versus if you don't get an encounter, and if you draw an escape versus if you draw an escape, there's just too much variance.
Yeah, and there's also a GMD that can spawn in the middle of the pot, making
Oh,
it even
no.
tighter. It's
Well,
horrible.
technically, we could save reset in Land's PC to control the GMD spawn locations, but
Nah, not worth it.
not worth it. I'd rather just
YOLO
get the
it.
random encounter. Alright.
Oof,
I mean, true.
almost.
You could YOLO it, and you're like, oh no, I got an encounter. I guess I'll just destroy these viruses with my strong battle chips.
No. Those
It's a
don't
40
exist.
health Matar.
So here we get Quake 3. I love this.
Unfortunately, it's a short enough distance we just pick it up without an encounter.
You don't run through any encounter check at all, so pretty nice.
And so here's another audio cue coming up for Miyu. And it's
It's
the
the same
same
one
audio
as-
cue as Dex, but there's a little more text to go
Convenient.
through.
Yeah.
So,
Also, we saved reset off the network menu. Pretty nice.
Oh, it's a 1 frame optimization right there. Or maybe like 2.
I mean, for tasks, it'd be 1 frame optimization, but for human reaction,
Isn't
I
it
think
2?
it's-
Like you have to hold a direction, I think, twice to make it change menu. Maybe not though.
Not sure.
It's a 1 or a 2 frame.
Right.
4 got so this is why we got Tri-Spare G, because got shoots really strong, but it only does 500 damage, and there are bosses that have more than that. But Tri-Spare G does 150, and it doesn't cause iframes because it only hits for 50. It doesn't cause iframe on most bosses.
Yeah. So you just kinda, Treshbeer gets shit. He's dead. Cool. Moving on.
So are you telling me that you manipped for Tri-Sphere?
Wow. Yes.
Wouldn't that be nice for a similar chip in some other games?
Yeah.
Nice.
No, I feel bad for them.
Well,
And
so
Tri-
you remember what I was talking last night, Smog? Imagine if Battle Network 6, the speedrun is fairly consistent. You get into Seaside area, and you could just plug in, oh, I got this draw.
Oh, yeah,
So that
that's
fight was really
true.
cool. Oh, we'll talk about that later. That fight where you know he's going to move down, you move up to fire the Buster Shot once to change the reward that you're going to get at the end, and then they get double deleted by the Quake 3. It's so good. Quake 3 is such a good chip. We get it, and we immediately use it to kill everything.
We
It's
don't
just
like
like-
him getting.
The combination of the amount of damage plus the fact that it, like the area of
AoE.
effect is very nice.
And the funny thing about the bubbler is there's a blue mystery data that's like 2 seconds from us that we could pick it up in, but we get
That
it from the
one
fight
right there.
instead. Because it would be hard to get.
Oh.
Yeah, that was a neat thing that happened. It turns out if you don't cut fast enough, you'll get an encounter there. I didn't know that. that's a new thing. I learn a new thing every time I run this because there's always a new thing that happens, like this very specific encounter check or this very specific
Yeah.
thing. There's always a new
Yeah.
thing. This happens to be World Records new thing of the day. 'Cause I had to change that maneuver because there used to be a fight to get water tower. The thing is, since traffic comp 5 glitch happened, you can just grab the BFD and it takes a second. So it doesn't have to load the file, it doesn't have to load the reward screen. It's much
That makes a
faster.
lot more sense. Because I'm like, I don't
So,
remember
mm,
having that trouble.
so I
Because we did
changed
an
the
extra.
area to make it so you just don't get an encounter period. But by doing so, since I run the game less with that setup, it means
So good.
sometimes
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that happens.
Red wave. What a
Oh my
lucky
goodness.
chip.
Yeah, it's so hard to get for 100%, but you just casually get it. Quake
And
3
wave.
again. It's Quake 3 again.
There's only one in our folder. That's all we
Yeah,
need.
that's
Oh, and you do a pause bufferless turn. A mad lad.
Do you grab the escape? Do you actually use that escape?
yes.
Okay, okay.
It's very important.
Yeah. We
That's
need. How many do we get, actually?
two.
So that's
Two,
it.
and that's it? Hmm.
That's the initial one and the one we just grabbed.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I mean, that one's right in the way, so it's convenient. All the others are a little bit of a detour, so.
Yeah.
So fun fact: the final orb, the that switches to the right path when you're about to change the traffic light, resets your step counter. So that's why I was able to afford to cut like corners on that last thing.
Um,
And traffic light comp 4, I do the same thing.
do you think you'll need me to pause for anything for like 10 seconds?
No, you're good.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Okay. Oh, I love this fight.
Oh, yeah. Was it? We get him to jump back, and then the second buster shot. You need both those. I think it's the first one. Do we
Uh,
intentionally get rank 10 for the code,
yeah,
or
rank 10 for
what
C
would
code.
rank? Yeah, we do need C code, don't we? That's in the shoot, the door virus fight.
Yeah, we use Quake 3,
I
Quake
like to
2, and Dino
say
Werewolves.
that's crazy.
I have
Saving
returned.
right on top of the color change orb.
Yeah, it didn't mess up with anything. So
Fire
pretty nice.
sword.
Oh my god, what an encounter.
3. That's like a scary encounter. I guess if you can get them to line up though.
I mean, even
Single-
then, like, for anyone that maybe has more experience with the later Battle Network games, if you come back to Battle Network 1, one of the things that might
Catch you off guard.
catch you off guard for sure is how hard the enemies hit.
Or
Yeah.
the fact that the swordies have hero swords.
Yes, that too.
I see you're in the back row. Let me just hit you.
But you will also maybe notice that perhaps you haven't played this game, but you heal after every fight, so it kind of balances out a little, but you still got to be careful,
Yeah.
specifically in single segments.
And
Especially
single
on the
summon
speed
matters a lot because any percent is so controlled that you never really have a chance to die.
Yeah,
And if you do, you go back what, a minute?
yeah, exactly, because you save so much.
Yeah. It's the safest speed run there is, except for power plant.
Oh my god, power play.
We can talk to it in a bit.
Yeah, 206, oh wow. Hey, C code, nice.
Dino wave. So there's some Zinni in that blue mixture data.
Yeah, it's
I guess we just don't need it.
no, we just,
So that's a top corner, so it's okay if we don't cut it, which Dallas did. It's like you have to touch the wall, and then you have to cut right, but it doesn't matter if you cut right early or not. Which is crazy. It's diagonal movement.
yeah.
So to iterate on movement,
HP man. Carry on.
essentially, vertical movement up and down is free. In terms of like not in the manip, but like just in general optimal movement considerations. Vertical movement doesn't really cost you
What a
anything, right?
fight. It depends on where you're trying to go, but yeah.
And
That fight used to
horizontal
be a little
movement is
bit
bad.
different in the original map. I just changed it a
Did
bit.
you cut out a save and reset or something?
No, because the fight itself is the same. It's still a slot 1 dash, slot 5 heater. It's just the original map was a buffered movement thing, or not really. You just kind of time dash and then you heater. But I found out that if you fire 2 buffer shots and then time out heater, pretty much, I mean, time at the dash and then heater instantly. Yeah, you get it pretty much way more consistently than you used to.
So that
Because of
thing you
how
picked
the
up,
water towers interact. Because even
Interesting.
if after they are dead, they keep moving. And Dracodon got killed by Corman after being the boss, but counted as a win. But Buzz's Ranjika still hits Mega Man. So I just moved the window a bit further away by shooting 2 Buster shots and making sure if I get hit by none, 1 or 2, you always get ball rub. But yeah.
See.
Um,
Now I want to do that, but I can't. Except you can't
So-
because it's a crazy glitch.
So, in this thing, we got a Recop 80 and Aqua Tower.
yeah, I was gonna ask. The first mystery data was Aqua Tower, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why I skipped the encountering traffic like on 1. The thing is,
Save reset audio cue.
if
This
you
audio
try
cue
to
is very
jack out,
wacky.
yeah, it's really odd. But, you know. The thing is, in Final Comp, if you try to jack out, it won't let you. So instead, we'll just reset the step counter for some
Quarter
reason.
draw.
I got the heater G tube. It's just way overkill.
So you can move up or down. This is a little bit random. So pause
Yeah.
buffer to check the movement and then go for the
Mhm.
kill.
And that's because it's a battle that's not buffered into.
Parody, yeah.
Yep.
Well,
So Color Man's either like up or down.
among other things.
Yeah.
So now we go to this. Yeah, 10,070.
Free money
Nice.
from our bestest friend Yai.
Oh my God, there's no comma in the 10,000. In English version, there's a comma, which like doesn't happen anywhere in Battle Network. I don't know, just things I notice.
When BN2 she gives 10,072, right? Isn't there a comma too?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't played BN2 in
All time to
Wow.
run BN2 with single segment.
yeah. Eventually, I want to save it. I want to savor it.
So, power plant comes up ahead are interesting.
I can't imagine. In any of my like practices, I haven't. I think the farthest I've gotten is like I've beaten Iceman, and just like watching what happens in power plant comps is like power plant comps even in single segment, not taking into account any of the virus encounters, stresses me out because it's like I don't know. It's just like a little overwhelming for me personally. So I can't imagine what it
Yeah.
must be like in any percent, as people will soon see. There's a lot of
Yeah. It's also
movement.
overwhelming. Also, can I just point out that was a really good talking section?
Yeah. Yeah, I like to move left at the start so you can move up and then get in between both of the NPCs.
Yeah.
So good. Now the scary thing is, as soon as you enter this section, we can't leave. So in the first area, we can't reset our step counter. So if Dallas makes any mistake, the run instantly dies.
Yeah.
Tragic.
So,
No pressure, Smog.
we talked about this earlier, but there's a lot of buffer room in like the first 1,000 steps or so, in which you will get no encounter checks.
It's like they expected you to backtrack a lot in this or something. Buster shot. Nice
Yeah.
fight. Now, High Cannon we could pick up for free, but I don't think we get a G code. And then it's like, you know, just happens to be on the way.
Yeah, G-code doesn't
Movement's
matter.
so
It's more like
weird.
we're gonna get encounters anyway, and that fight is probably faster than jacking into that.
Yeah, well, it definitely is.
I agree.
2-6. Wow.
Easy.
So, Smog, do you pick up this mystery data in single segment?
The
Yes.
Raton? Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Unless I've
Shouldn't you do the
gotten it
quiz
already.
instead?
Where's the quiz?
No, because
Like the
considering
barrier.
the amount of buffer you have, it shouldn't equal an encounter.
Since you can potentially get it from a random encounter, I'd skip that. And if you get it from a random encounter, then cool. But if you don't, then you just do the quiz.
Where's the quiz? Sorry.
Next to barrier.
Classroom.
Oh, I get
By
a
the
barrier
barrier.
later.
Yeah. The summer school.
Yeah, the kid right in front of the lockers is the one.
Yeah, the little
That's good.
balding kid.
Mm.
I know the one. No X Panel 3.
That moment is really interesting because he's not really cutting corners. He's just kind of.
This rat, it's like you can't control where it goes, but just like it works out. Moved up.
Is it
that
actually
the right
random?
button? Yeah,
No.
I mean it's random, but it's random like anything else in Battle
Okay.
Well,
Except for
I
number
did change that fight. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure
well, they're not random.
the tutorial didn't tell you to do that. Pretty sure I changed it.
Yeah, that looks different. I think I waited for it to move and then threw like it moved to the bottom and then the middle.
Yeah,
Don't
something
understand.
like that. The thing is, when I was relearning the game, I forgot to properly do it, and I did that. I was like, oh, sweet, I got it anyway. I'll do
Fine.
this.
I think the code's different, but we're not actually using it, so.
And I got an encounter there because there was a very specific check there. I didn't know. I didn't really know you could half turn too early. So that was a thing.
Yeah. I like getting that encounter check as a corner so then you can go talk to the prog. Because during this entire thing, we have to talk to the little battery boxes, we have to talk to the switch, we have to talk to the progs, and we have to maintain a consistent step counter, which means we have to use walls and corners. And so you have to get creative with what a corner is.
Yeah, so if you
Like
always
the
get an
prog.
encounter in the same place, and you will always see an encounter in the same place, you can use that as a corner to buffer your movement off of the encounter.
Oh, I like
That's
this one. Alright, jumps on the fire wave.
and it counts as a double kill, so that's right.
And so, I don't think anyone's mentioned yet, but one of the little things coming up in the next bit is the shape of the switches. Right?
Yeah, no, the thing that to activate the switches, to turn it off or on, it doesn't have a square-ish kind of hitbox.
yeah.
It's
It's
more
so
like
weird.
what, octagonal or something. So you
Yeah, I
can
guess.
slide off it instead of just run into it. And it's really important later when we have to hard turn into it and use the
Yeah.
switch as a corner. But I don't think I messed it up this run.
Like
And
definitely messed
I
it up.
recommend pause buffering these turns.
Yeah.
Dallas isn't because he's playing on keyboard and has done this 1,000
No, I
times.
can hard turn on console too. I just don't really run on console because I cannot. I literally cannot. Whether it's unsafe or not is a completely different story. But I technically do it.
For anyone wondering, if you're interested in speedrunning this, both keyboard and other controllers are allowed. So, you know, whatever you're cool with is all good. But
I remember that
I will
wiggle
say,
in that corner.
I will say that for this category in particular, I'm usually a controller player. I can see how keyboard would help a lot, especially if you have, you know, a decent keyboard.
But it's only a very specific point. And my keyboard keeps messing up for some reason.
I'd like to see someone do manip with the DDR pad.
Oh,
I mean, if you want to see DDR pad, in a PvP scenario, there is video of that.
That's true.
It's very, in my opinion, good. Very good entertainment.
Okay. Oh, yeah, we are gonna just be running into a lot of things.
Running straight up. Get a virus encounter so that way we can change directions.
Oh my god.
So that's
You looking forward to this, Smog?
I mean, I'm sure it'll be nice once I learn it. But even then, it's like, you actually gotta do it.
No, the thing is, this part is really daunting because the entire scenario is like 10 minutes, and 5 of those alone are like in this specific area.
Oh,
it's more-
Power Plant 3 is like the longest area in the game.
Yeah.
I forgot.
And that's what
Yeah.
that's what you are seeing now, in case anyone was wondering. Power Plant 3.
I got
This
to
is,
safety save there because that's so tight. It's so tight. I made it look easy,
Hood
but
pause buffer.
you run
You did make it
upright.
look easy.
Yeah, you're not run upright, and then you have to hard turn down right, and then upright again to the battery box, and it's kind of really tight. Yeah, there we go. And here's where the hitbox of the thing matters. It mattered earlier on Comp 1 too, but I got the.
because what could happen is you could just slide off it, and then that's obviously not what you want. You want to have a consistent or a known position.
So shout outs to that encounter corner. Love it. An encounter so you can comfortably get the battery box. Great.
Can you pause for a second?
Yep.
So, did all those like corners that Dallas is cutting, especially that last one to the battery box before the prog, like right there, there's that. That is entirely because of Smog. You see it now, right?
Let me see it again.
The rounding a bottom corner. It doesn't matter when he cuts it because the diagonal movement cancels out, and ultimately it's just horizontal movement into the battery box.
I see it.
It's crazy. Diagonal movement cancels out. So our steps end up being exactly the same. Even without a virus corner.
Virus corner.
Yep. If you want to learn how movement works, just ask Smog. He now knows everything.
Even knowing everything, I'm sure it'll take a while to internalize it all. And then that's Power Plant Comp 3 almost.
Yep. You guys get slot 1.
And then finally, after the last one, you're like, okay, now I don't care about my movement. So this is normal Dallas movement now.
Yeah, Comp held up there.
Oh,
Machine.
rip that turn frame. Okay, now we're back to the nib. Let's see, he rounded the top corner, right? Because it doesn't matter. He doesn't have to cut those tight.
I once added Aqua Tower C and Dynawave C because they were C coded, and I was like, wait, doesn't look right.
So I'm just gonna go back for a second. I'm wondering, is this cut, does that have to be in a specific spot?
Well, it has to be in a range. Like
In a
anytime we
range,
change
okay.
directions because we pause, we're in a different RNG window. And so whether or not you get an encounter varies, which is why sometimes you have to wiggle quickly, sometimes you have to wiggle slowly.
Is it tough doing it when you literally can't see the path?
I think you just get a feel for it. That's like
Yeah.
one of those experience things.
So once again, you just get a feel for it. Play the runs.
So pause it again. To finish speaking to that point, one of the things that can help is if you set it up on emulator and you've got the HUD
Yes.
script to show you your steps, you can see when you get encounter checks and you're like, oh, So between this point and this point, I need to do a wiggle. Or between this point and this point, I need to change direction. So that can help. Power Plant 4 has an extremely terrifying encounter that if you see it in single segment, you're probably dead if you don't
Which
drown
one is it?
escape. The one we're about to get. And the funny thing is, this really terrible encounter we get in any percent. I'm like, well, I guess we'll just do it and get a battle chip. So play it.
I want to see what it is.
It's a really good encounter.
Ooh, I don't think I've ever even seen a Canadome 3.
You have one attack before he uses the steel, right?
Yeah.
See? And then the Remo bit's taking out your back panels, and they're pushing you to the bottom, which has a mega cannon.
Also,
Yeah.
I messed up because you're supposed to dodge the mega cannon and fire the Sunny Way before the proc can even steal. I messed it up, but you get the chip anyway, so I'd rather not reset. It's slower.
Yeah, technically, guys, extra RNG. But that'll survive the power plant. We got a couple bosses coming up. Shouts to 1 GP
no.
for the
I
raid.
remember this.
And 1 GP. If you like Battle Network PvP, definitely check them out. So we save
Just
reset.
the
This is
luck. The
This
luck,
is
no.
Electman. You have to do 50 or more damage, and then he'll heal.
Just the luck.
And we just want to do it kind of as quickly as possible. Dallas
Come
did it
on!
a little too quickly. That might have even been, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt, and we'll say 1 frame too early. Oh, so this is what Battle Network gameplay normally looks like. It's like I have no idea what's going to happen. Let's try.
Oh
Alright, we got
my
a shotgun.
God.
We just need to do 50 damage.
And that's
There.
it.
Okay. And so now we can.
And he paused too early. Oh my goodness.
Oh, that was
But it's
awful.
fine because now we can save reset. And this is a audio or visual cue to start the
Visual.
next fight. And this is a 2-boss gauntlet that Dallas is going to manipulate correctly.
Mm-hmm. Both visual and audio cues for this are really good.
And so there, it doesn't matter if you miss the last one because you just need to do 500 damage. Or,
Yeah, you also have to wait for 4 movements.
with the
Like
spear,
when-
you only have to do 100 damage. But
Yeah,
then Gust
and
Shoot takes care
it
of
also doesn't affect RNG, so it literally doesn't matter. You just need to do it. And then hold start to pause buffer. And now we get Protoman. Oh wow, what a hard boss. No one's ever died to Protoman. Press A.
All it takes is to like not pay attention like twice. All right, in my defense.
And so that was still a goal because I had a problem with my splits and they just kind of got reset. So that's why you're seeing a lot more golds than it should for the time it is.
Oh.
Dallas, they
I
can't
understand.
see them.
Oh, right.
Or is he explaining to us?
I
Because
forgot.
there's a whole lot of gold splits. Like,
Yeah.
looking at this, you'd think, wow, this is an amazing run. Just ignore the, 2 mistakes he's made.
Yeah. So I remember Dallas when you did this run, you mentioned in Discord that you had made a few small mistakes and then like one bigger mistake. Was
Yeah,
it?
that was
Was it that?
that was the
Electman?
big mistake.
Okay.
The original 120 had a similar mistake. It felt like the initial maneuver for Electman, so I had to reset and do it again. And in Coleman, I failed to do try spear got shoot quickly, so I was stuck there for like a custom screen waiting for the mini Colemans to line up.
Oh, get out of the way, yeah. They're pretty annoying.
So in terms of time loss, it's pretty much around the same with the original time. It just so happens that this is barely not a 114, and originally it was barely a 120. So it looks more impressive last time.
Yep, red skip cut out a lot.
Let's
What?
get
I was just gonna ask. In any percent, was the Magic Man fight like fully manipulated as well? Like, are the viruses the same as well? Okay.
The viruses are the same. The viruses would be the same if you saw them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Of course.
Magic Man doesn't even have time to disappear; he just dies.
Poor
Well, I
guy.
mean, now you don't even see Magic Man either, so it's Even better.
Remember to grab Higsby's memos by going around
Hey,
and talking
now.
to Higsby.
I mean,
Listen, you call
there,
out
there,
Grish. I
there's
had
a
to.
there's like a checklist of new runner mistakes that everyone has to go through. That's just one.
Forgetting Higgs memo.
Forget the memo. Die to
Door virus.
power plant.
By the way,
The whole
I have forgotten Higsby's memos in the past too. Don't you worry. We've all done it at some point.
Forgetting at dad's a pretty common mistake.
Damn.
Okay, that I've never done.
Yeah, neither have I. I think it depends on like how much experience you have with the game as well before you start learning the route. Because like I think I'd probably played this game once or twice and quite a while ago and then started learning the route. So it was like, okay, when I go to dad's comp, I talk to the prog and I get the mystery data. Easy. But like if you already have habits, you know, like that's habits are just hard to break sometimes.
Like that shopping trip. Yes, please give me all of your power-ups and a hammer. Thank you.
12,500 setting. Always the same. Really.
It's funny. The exact same Zenny count.
Yeah.
Amazing. All right, and here we have, I think, maybe one of the longest chains in the game.
It
It's
is the
only 3
longest.
encounters, but it's just so much walking.
Mhm.
Is it complicated?
What you're about to see.
It is.
Oh,
It
no.
is. I messed it
mean-
up a lot in the past. It has some specifics, but once you get used to it, it's not bad. It's not that bad at all. But at first,
just
it's
push the buttons.
really easy
timing-
to mess up, and if you mess it up, you lose a lot of time.
Yeah.
Because this one, it's just like a timing thing, and the hard has got no tell. So you use the custom gauge, right? Yes.
Yeah, until like it reaches the high point on the C,
Yeah.
and once it does, you press A.
I hate
5 seconds exactly. It doesn't
hate
matter.
the hard
but
heads
it's
in this
funny.
game.
Yeah, you can
And then
get rank
we
10 or
click
rank
runner.
S, and you can get rank S by
And you
being.
can hold B to advance that text just like the door so we can chain manip between areas. Oh my gosh.
Mhm. That's the same principle I used when I invented RL button stretch maneps
This
in
fight.
for 100%.
Triple spooky. How lucky.
Oh, that's so good.
And
And now we're
then
gonna.
this warp
Yeah.
here will reset your step counter so we can cut out. And it also means that from this point, it's like it would sync up with any other manips that you do. There's a GMD straight down that we could pick up. Single segment should.
Yeah, the half
don't need
turn
to.
before the ramp, and you half turn and then you switch to right. The half turn is really important because if not, you'll get an encounter early. And there's a half turn here too.
And there's a BMD straight up that we could get, but we don't. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
yes.
It's like there's chips literally just off screen, and it's like,
Yeah.
nah, that's too slow.
It's Aquasword, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. After running single segment and going back to this, it seems crazy. It's like we skipped so many.
We even
so
skipped that
many-
HP memory because it's like, it's too messy to get.
You don't die in this game.
It's like I'd rather spend 3,000 zenny to buy one than go pick that up.
Oh, this fight's so satisfying.
So all the C codes coming into play and a movement buffer to throw the Quake. He delayed slightly anyway. I'm not sure if that was necessary. And then we timed
Yeah,
up to
yeah,
the shockwave triple kill.
I wish.
It's not a buffer, it's a slight weight. I remember exactly from
If
your
you buffer
video
it,
tutorial.
is it too fast? I thought you could buffer it.
Yeah, it is too early, and that way
Huh.
you will not get hit by the countdown attack. That way you will throw the Quake 2 a bit slower. And therefore, the Dino Wave will be slower. Sonic Wave.
Cool. And it all works out.
Mm-hmm. So you want to intentionally get hit. This-
And this is the fight that Smog ran away from, and I'm like, but you could get a battle chip.
And then I got it again, and I did it, and I didn't get a battle chip.
If you'd done the first one, you probably would have got a battle chip.
Well, BN6 50/50s might say otherwise.
So this
Are they
part
really
up ahead.
50/50s?
Yeah.
This part up ahead is kind of hard because you have to
Check the drop table.
turn in between the shop and the corner. Because if you touch the corner, you're messed up. But if you touch
Pause it.
the shop vendor,
Yep. Because if you go back to that part where he's walking between, see, it's vertical movement, right, Smog?
Mhm.
And so whether or not you touch the wall or not, you're introducing diagonal movement.
Yes.
Diagonal versus vertical is very different than diagonal versus horizontal. So you can't round left right corners. You have to thread the needle
So
in order
the
to
spot
maintain
that they're
a
talking
consistent set
about.
counter. Use your mouse.
I will use my mouse.
Yeah.
So
Use
right
your
here, Mega Man has to move between this Navi, easy to see, and this corner to his right to have just straight up vertical movement.
yeah,
And he does a
It's-
little wiggle there as well.
it's tighter than it seems, and it's really important.
Because in case you're not familiar, corners and anything you can essentially that Mega Man can catch on and be stuck on is
We don't even pick up fighter sword.
truly the final boss of the game.
We do use at dad, and then we go shopping for wood armor, which I'm pretty sure we don't even equip.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yes,
I love it.
and I've got 500 zenny left over. If only we could make that 0 somehow.
Just okay. You have 15k. Just I won my 6 levels. Thank you. Yeah, that's it. No armor. Just 6 levels.
He may as well sell you the memo.
Oh, you
So we
remembered.
trade howitzer for Buster Punch, or is it Buster Bomb?
Buster Punch. Buster Bomb is the
Punch.
trade quest.
It's so good. Yeah, well, you can only have one armor equipped, Lucky, right? And every armor increases your level, so it's more just having it.
Mm-hmm.
I'd pay Higsby for a memo. He just gives us his for free. I don't know.
If I could buy the memos just from his chip shop menu, then I would never forget it.
Man, if only you could buy the memos
Ah.
and not have to get the 60 chips or 30 levels.
Oh man.
So with OSS, might be interesting to note that there's no armors because that's replaced with Star Force Rockman, and so the levels you get from armors are instead. Why'd you cut? Instead, dispersed
Did I
throughout
cut?
library completion. Yeah, go back. Let's watch Dallas throw away turn frame.
I mean, there.
Well, he threw a bunch there.
Let's
Right
ignore
here.
that.
Not really Metro, and then you just hold straight up.
Oh, he did cut.
Oh, I cut. You. Why did I cut? Yeah.
Habit.
Good question. I always hold up when doing the thing. Oh, I know why. I cut because I was thinking, okay, I need to go to
So here's the
Meld-
barrier, and you talk to
Yeah.
the kid and do a quiz to get Rattan. But we don't need it.
Yeah.
And then you talk to the lady.
oh,
And as a
yeah.
backup, there's a chip in the blackboard that you can manip for. There's also a power up here.
Mhm. But yeah, I was thinking of going to the left on the next area, and I accidentally cut there prematurely.
Mm.
That makes sense.
This blackboard can be a little terrifying.
Yep.
Power plant 3-4, blackboard, and I guess internet area 4? Maybe some of the scariest areas for single segment now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice pause to cut out a turn frame. Oh my gosh. And he literally throws a power up away into rapid. That doesn't help anyone. It's like that's how little he cares about charge right now. I'm gonna increase my rapid.
Yeah, if I run into this problem in all chips, is that sometimes I was trying to mush the buster or something,
you get
and the
different results?
the charge would get in the way and make it a bit slower. So I just put them in
Really?
attack and drop it because I'm not using my charge shot. I'm just really using the chips I top deck.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. That's funny. Single segment you won't charge, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be a 4 attack, 3 charge kind of runner. Smog is like, nah, I need that 80 damage.
It's just
Yeah.
because
Even
I
if it
need to
takes me
get rid
2
of the
years.
cold heads immediately in the door virus.
For the door virus.
Like, because otherwise I just die.
Mm.
And they conveniently, they have 80 HP. And if you have max attack and 1 charge, obviously the charge just affects the charge speed. But if you have max attack, the full charge does 80 HP. It's easy.
Mm. So
And
now that
only-
we got the requirement for 60 chips, we're suddenly only gonna draw escapes from now on.
Yeah. Our folder
I
now
wish.
consists of only escapes. Except for when we fight Bomb Man.
Yeah.
And we switch back to the folder that has more than escapes.
Twiggles. Encounter.
So this is exactly the same movement Dallas does in single segment, just because he can't help himself.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah, me and Rish were watching you, and you're like, did he whip? Yep, he whipped.
Yeah, it's once he runs any percent enough, it just gets you.
Yeah, this game's all about muscle memory, really.
Yeah. Like I remember the first few times I run any percent, I just couldn't interact with Jack. I just couldn't read it. But after I got used to it, muscle memory started to kick in. I was, because I really started streaming just to record runs and not have to upload them.
Yep, and then he rage quits the stream to do a 1 offline attempt, gets world record, and then uploads it.
Yeah, that
that
was
still-
the one.
Is that
120
still available?
was. Yeah,
I want to
120
see
is
Dallas
still.
rage quit.
Oh no,
Oh,
that's,
well, I'm sure
Oh,
that's
no.
not. Because that was just a
Sad.
past broadcast.
Yeah,
yeah.
I forget if Prism ever rage quit a stream. He'd rage during the stream,
yeah.
but then he'd like keep doing resets.
I'm trying
It's
to
funny
think.
because both any percent world records have been offline, but all the other PBs and attempts have been online. It just so happened that the world record is offline.
I mean, for this run, it kind of makes sense because, like, especially if you're trying to keep up with like chat or something.
Yeah.
Like, I've thought about what I'm gonna do when I eventually learn
Is
the
that
run.
normal? Did you change this ending?
No, this has always been the same.
We get the fight and then we save?
Hmm.
I forgot. Oh look, it's the final boss. This
Ooh, heater.
fight is so cool because we get to use heater, which will explode and hit Bomb Man, and also make his bombs explode, which will then damage him and
So-
put him just below 500 HP. And guess what does 500 damage?
I was gonna ask.
Got
So
you.
when you get heater for Bomb Man, you want to hit him as well, and a bomb.
Yeah.
Ideally, because then it's like double damage.
Okay. I wasn't sure if like iframes happened and messed things up or something.
Nah, heater, like every boss has different thresholds,
Yeah.
and heater doesn't make Bomb Man flinch, but his bombs do, so then we just
Yeah.
wait. And then the best part is once you're done, you exit that, you turn around, and Dad's like, Lan, what have you been up to? And we're like, you've been standing over our shoulder for the past half hour. What do you think we've been doing? Fighting Bomb Man in the Undernet. Oh, by the way, tell us where World 3 is. He's like, no. Please? Okay. So that's it. Basically, we're done with the game, and we just got a short walking segment. And then once we lose control of land, that's
Yeah.
done.
Bomb Man was the
Takes
final
about
boss.
4 minutes. Yeah, this is all post game now.
Listen, that was early Metro Pass is suboptimal. I just couldn't help myself.
Is it? Oh,
Yeah.
I guess it.
Who is
That's
that guy
funny.
with Wily?
Uh,
He operates a Navi.
That's Yoga Master. He helps Wily stay fit and limber.
True.
Yoga Man. I think he's just there to plug the anime, actually.
Right.
We have not talked about
Also, Wily's
OSG,
curry chef.
but OSG is really important in the last section.
Well, exactly once. Well, I guess he's
He's-
there the entire time, but there's one time you get an email or a phone call, and it gives
And then
OSG
he
enough time to
walks.
literally
Oh,
run
he's
into
the
you.
worst.
Yeah.
I noticed, and maybe you'll have more a more accurate view of this, but I've noticed that NPCs
Final metro ticket.
they feel like they're more in the way in this game.
Yes.
Yeah.
So okay,
I
so
don't know why or how.
they tightened up their NPC placements in later games. Oh, is that too clear?
I was like, no, he cut too early. I can tell. I can see the pixels.
I can feel the pixels. And then that's it. Pretty much.
Yep.
We're like, Dad, our library card expired. You did the same thing I did. That was one of the 2 mistakes in my PB. We temporarily go down to the restaurant.
Oh, it's funny.
That's very good.
What
So
can I
that's
say?
You started
RNG
holding
manip.
down or something, I'm guessing.
Yeah, you just gotta hold down.
There's OSG. So you gotta like cut down right to get away from him.
Yeah.
Because if you hold right, you don't go anywhere. So this is Dr. Wily's Grape Soda Factory. This is where all the grape soda came from earlier. And there's Higsby.
Reminder that if the version that you're playing doesn't have grape soda, it's not canon.
Yeah.
Well, so fun fact: there used to be a folder edit at the beginning of this comp to get escapes on the rest of the Wily comps, but you know, it just so
Did you-
happened.
Have to change the manips to get them here or not?
Nope, they're literally the same.
Yeah, I guess it's just for lighter areas then.
Yeah,
Did you double talk to that guy?
yeah. I was kind of choking the last play, like
Oh, you're
restaurant
like,
double
world
talking.
record pace. Go, go. Yes, take Quake 3.
Yeah.
Having to buster down a candle guy while they're regenerating HP. That's not fun.
Suboptimal.
I ran through a couple of encounter checks there, by the way. But
Yeah, Dallas is mad lad. But, I mean, you know, we saved recently, so it's whatever.
yeah,
and now he's just like, I don't care about my steps.
yeah, 'cause-
Lost to the final boss corner. And Dallas is like, nope, that's it. We're good enough. See you, Higsby. You can clean up the rest of this. Good luck, number man.
Oh,
I started holding dry because I wanted to exit the metro station and then I
in
realized.
time.
It's a 1:15:10. Our timer's hard because we kept pausing the video. I guess we really only needed 2 hours for this, not 2.5.
I mean, to be fair, given the introductions and brief talking before the run, it's been like 2 hours and a half. It just so happened that we started the timer when the run started.
It's been
So,
1 hour, 55 minutes, and 4 seconds.
There we go.
Quick
There you go.
fill time. All right, Lucky, hop on, and we're gonna do a BN1 2 scenario raid. Night Sharkman. Yeah. I don't think any of us are actually set up to stream gameplay right now.
I mean,
Did someone say
I
being one
am.
old chips
No, I don't think I am.
watching party?
Let's do humor jokes from memory. All right, here. This one's for free.
Not even gonna ask.
Classic.
No.
BN1 single segment world record commentary. That would just expose how free it is. No, I don't know if it's free. What do you think, Tara?
Do you even answer that honestly?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it free still? Do you still think it's like free?
Yeah, I think Dallas is going to come back in like 2 or 3 no resets and they'll have it again.
Dang. It feels, it's so weird because like there's so much, like you were saying, like buffer time that can happen, you know? But that's a different run.
Yeah. I mean, it's good old being one. But yeah. So technically, the any percent is still free. You know, just don't use the dash too early and all that, man. Do not make any mistakes. Easy.
Any percent's free, just don't mess up.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So there you have it. That's that.
But yeah, it's 100%. It's hard run, but, you know.
Would you say it's, once you know it, it's like still very difficult to perform?
Only parts of it. Parts of it are easy.
Yeah, it's not difficult to perform on a marathon setting. Like 120, 125 is pretty free for marathon. Like it's not extremely difficult because the mistakes you just gonna reset. You take save, you take more save. You know, save. You take more safety saves. There we go.
Yeah.
Thank you. And you just take it easy. So it's not that hard, but making no mistakes, doing all the wiggles properly first try. It's that point that gets hard to do it consistently.
So that's BN1. Lurking got the BN5 record recently, so we don't need to review that. So 2, 3, 4, 6. Which one? There's a poll in the chat. Would you guys like to see next?
Well, if people are voting for 2, I guess I'll hop on again. Unless it's single segment, in which case it'd be Rush.
I mean, even then, you still know it.
Kinda curious about Terragumba's insane 3s times. I'm gonna vote for that.
Yeah, I don't know if I've like sat down and watched all of Terragumba's run, because it's like, unless I'm actively playing that specific game, I'm kind of not going for it.
Right. Yeah, of course I do. Lucky. Hello, hi.
I don't know who to vote for.
BN2 has a lot of value cues and it's kind of hard.
Alpha Omega World Record review. Let me knock a couple more hours off it first, and then we'll review it.
So in case anyone's curious, BN2 also has manips, but correct me if I'm wrong, the RNG value advances during the title screen, which makes things a little trickier.
So you know what we did?
The worst game to do RNG manip. Even 3 is better to RNG manip.
3 is so, in my opinion, consistent. Or it can be if you want it, if you put enough time into it.
Yeah, well, so BN3 has because the RNG advances on the title screen, it just has to do different things.
Well, only one of the RNGs advances on the title screen, right?
Yeah. Alright, most people want to see BN2. Maybe we'll just do it in order, I guess. Okay. Does anyone have any ideas for next Saturday? What you want to do? You're just gonna continue the World Record Review series, or do something else?
Well, unless anything new is happening, I guess we'll just continue. But you know, we can talk that internally and the stream now. I don't know. Unless anyone in chat has any great suggestion or anything they specifically want to see. Right, chat?
Pin 6, drop the base randomizer.
Have we
I
done
mean,
any
again,
randomizer stuff recently?
I don't know when the last time we did a randomizer. Two scenario randomizer. There's other two scenarios we've not even done yet, like BN1, 2,
I'm essentially saving learning
4.
BN2 until I can participate in a either blind or guided 2 scenario race. Like I have the
Yeah.
cartridge right here. It's just waiting to be played.
Oh no, how do I teach Quake, man? Oh no.
We could just do the BN2 two scenario race next
I don't know
time.
about
We
next
could.
week, since
Oh yeah, you.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
have.
Never mind, that won't work.
I just got an update that I will. I told you I will in fact have internet. I just don't know the quality of it, but I'll let
Probably
y'all know.
not very high if you're sharing
Yeah.
it, but yeah.
It won't be my internet that I'm actually paying money for. Anyway.
Yeah. Stuff.
Maybe we'll just do the world record review then.
And then the
'Cause
week
that'll be
after,
easy to do for a few weeks
do
and think on it.
2 scenario race or something.
The week after? Yeah. Once you get set back up, we'll see. We can do it.
Yeah. Well, that was fun.
Hope you get a PP. I guess that's it for this stream. That was a little shorter, but we wanted to do something different and something easy. So hopefully you enjoyed and learned something a little more about Battle Network speedrunning. Each of the games is very different, and Battle Network 1 is probably the most unique because of how the RNG works and how we're really able to take advantage of that mechanic to push the game in ways that it was not intended.
We can probably expand on that a little bit more right now. Like, there's one RNG value that is very easy to
it's a constant
not
value.
predict. Like you know, we essentially know how it advances.
Yeah.
So and because it advances, it starts advancing once you press continue in the title screen. You can just like buffer movement, and everything is pretty much consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, there are a few moments where you can't buffer movement, but then that's where like audio and visual cues come in, and like like frame windows and stuff.
Yeah, so Chad is aware the BN2 world record that you want to see is all that thing that you cannot buffer into. Okay, just put that, and that's BN2. A lot of windows of stuff you cannot buffer into, and a lot of 50-50s. But you cannot kind of fix that, but yeah. Completely different story.
BN2 is, I think, the hardest RNG manipulation around.
Is it gonna be any percent or no major glitches?
Probably no major glitches is a better run to watch. It's more optimized.
You either
than
do no
100%.
major glitches or single segment. I mean, we could maybe even do both. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, have a
We'll
little
see
break in the middle.
how much BN2 people want to watch.
It's a good game.
Not
It's
choosing the
fun.
fastest one. Choose the most interesting one. The most run one.
Yep.
Very nice.
Yeah, but that's Battle Network 1. And we'll be back next Saturday, about the same time, same place, and probably do BN2. But whatever it is, hope to see you then. And as always, if you want to, you can join the Discord, talk about the series, both playing casually or learning to speedrun. Say what things you'd like to see on the stream or on the YouTube channel, and we'll just do more stuff. So that's pretty much it. Smog and Dallas, you guys want to say goodbye to the stream and the video?
Well, not really. I hope you enjoyed.
Wow.
Wow.
Thanks for watching. It's been fun.
Yeah, hope anyone learned something. I just want to add as well, like, if you're curious of any of the movement, Taraj has a very good tutorial, a more slower paced and detailed tutorial. So anything that we kind of just skimmed over as like oh, this is just the movement. If you're curious about what it is, you can check that out.
It's a bit outdated though. It has post game, something like about the magic man or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I remember making that and thinking the only person who's ever going to watch this is Prismatic Black and Methodical. And then when Dallas came out of nowhere and was like, "Yeah, I'm learning manipulation," I'm like, "Are you sure you want to do that?"
No, the thing is, I came in because I uploaded my first run, and then Draco was like, "Hey, you should join this Discord." And I was like, "Yeah, I know about it. I have not joined yet. I kind of wanted to, get a good run going or something." And then suddenly Utero was like, "Oh, dude, someone else is running 80% manip. What?" Uh, fun times, fun times.
Yeah, and now Smog is learning it. Like at least twice as many people, if not 3 times as many people, have been running and learning this category than I ever expected. So that's cool.
It's really fun. It definitely takes a lot of time, in memorization and whatnot, and get the muscle memory down. But it's really fun, really controlled, not a lot of RNG. So if that's something that frustrates you about other runs or whatnot, there's pretty much no RNG here, unless you want to take the risk.
Running Battle Network 1 will make you appreciate RNG. I don't even complain about Train Arrow or anything else that happened. I'm like, you know what? I'm okay with this. Because I know the alternatives.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Well, see, but BN1 number doors aren't random. There's no RNG there, lols. You can't trick me. I know how those work.
They're just different every time.
Okay. So we'll stop it there. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hope to see you next week or in the Discord. Take care, enjoy the music, and we'll be back later.
Have a good one, everyone.